Three of the WNBA's most significant players convened behind closed doors at the Indiana Fever training facility for regarded by some as the most significant gathering in the recent history of the franchise. According to reports, the league's top star, Caitlin Clark, the seasoned Phoenix leader Sophie Cunningham, and the up-and-coming Indiana phenom Lexie Hull have made a combined declaration that has the potential to drastically alter women's professional basketball. Their collective choice might have far-reaching effects on league structures, player remuneration, and the future of women's sports as a whole, in addition to individual careers. However, why would players from various clubs and phases of their careers get together to make such a significant announcement? What could an announcement be so important that every WNBA executive, player, and fan in the nation must pay attention? This purported statement coincides with a pivotal point in women's professional basketball history, as the league sees unheard-of increases in attendance, attention, and revenue. Millions of new WNBA fans were introduced to the league by Caitlin Clark's historic rookie campaign. It is unclear what collective action these players might be thinking about and how their combined influence could impact the future of women's professional basketball, even though players like Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull embody the established talent and up-and-coming potential that characterize the league's competitive landscape.
Clark was the #1 pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, and of course,
the three athletes each symbolize a distinct facet of WNBA success and difficulties. Clark offers unheard-of marketability and fan interest that has raised awareness of the league as a whole. Cunningham stands for seasoned expertise and the viewpoint of athletes who laid the groundwork for the team's current success. The future of the league will be shaped by the potential that Hull represents. Their partnership points to a program that tackles a number of facets of the women's basketball experience, including long-term career development, veteran leadership, and rookie adaptation. Sports pundits question if this revelation may lead to collective action on issues like women's basketball chances, workplace conditions, or players' salary players to optimize their earning capacity and job contentment. The current pay scale for the WNBA greatly reduces player earning potential in comparison to the income and notoriety brought forth by top performers, resulting in continuous disputes around equitable pay and long-term career viability.
All right, we love talking season before the season even tips off because all of us have our predictions, what we think's going to happen, who's going to be great. For instance,
the ramifications could indicate that these participants are acting in hitherto unheard of ways to address fundamental problems in women's professional basketball that impact every player, irrespective of their level of fame or accomplishment. Their combined power and platform offer special chances to promote reforms that might further the commercial and competitive growth of sports, while also benefiting the player community as a whole. Given her distinct position as the league's most marketable athlete and largest income earner, Caitlin Clark's participation in any collective player movement will be especially noteworthy.
WNBA star and Fever guard Caitlin Clark is returning to her original home court on Sunday.
Clark's games frequently drew over 1 million spectators during her freshman season, revolutionizing WNBA economics, television viewers, as well as selling out venues that had previously experienced attendance issues. Women's basketball players from earlier generations now have leverage that they did not have before this commercial success. The WNBA's commercial stance has been drastically changed by Clark's own influence on league revenues, which includes previously unheard of retail sales, sponsorship possibilities, and television ratings. Because away games with Clark often draw larger crowds and bring in more money than regular WNBA games, her attendance has benefited clubs around the league, not just the Indiana Fever. The rookie star has a larger social media following than many well-known male professional players, giving her access to platforms and influence that go beyond much more than basketball. Her capacity to connect with a variety of people and garner widespread media coverage produces chances for campaigns and activism that may extend well beyond conventional basketball circles. There are concerns about how Clark would utilize her exceptional reputation and financial worth to promote changes that would help all WNBA players, not just herself. Her special position gives her the ability to influence changes to concerns like pay caps, working conditions, and possibilities for professional growth that have hampered women's professional basketball for decades. It is unclear if Clark's participation in player collective initiatives reflects her understanding that, in order for the women's basketball community as a whole to experience sustainable growth and better conditions for all players, Individual achievement must be balanced with group advancement.
Clark was the #1 pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, and of course,
Sophie Cunningham contributes a unique viewpoint to any cooperative endeavor, possessing encountered the difficulties and restrictions of playing professional women's basketball during her time with the Phoenix Mercury. Cunningham is an experienced player who has navigated the WNBA's financial and professional realities while competing at the highest levels. As such, she is aware of the opportunities and limitations that characterize player experiences. Cunningham's career path involves playing internationally, since many WNBA players rely on foreign contests in the winter to generate the majority of their yearly pay. This international viewpoint offers information on several models for women's professional basketball that might impact conversations about enhancing opportunities and conditions in local leagues. Thea Season-Gar has seen women's basketball transform from a fringe sport with little commercial appeal, draw attention to its current standing as a developing entertainment property that is becoming more well-known. Her background in several league development eras offers insightful background for comprehending both the advancements made and the obstacles still facing the league. Given her position as a leader in the Players Association and her track record of standing up for players' rights, Cunningham should be involved in any significant project that focuses on doable changes that tackle actual problems impacting players' livelihoods and careers. Her viewpoint is representative of the worries of seasoned athletes who have dedicated their professional lives to laying the groundwork for their current success. Sports analysts point out that Cunningham's involvement in joint ventures with up-and-coming athletes like Clark shows how the player community can overcome generational divides to work towards shared objectives that benefit all players, regardless of their individual recognition or career stage.
In Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever are trading for a multi-dimensional wing.
The new talent that will shape the WNBA's future is represented by Lexie Hull, the future, presenting the viewpoint of athletes who joined the league during its current expansion stage, but who continue to deal with the same issues that have plagued women's professional basketball throughout its existence. Her participation implies that any significant announcement should include both pressing problems and long-term growth considerations. Hull and Clark's connection as teammates with the Indiana Fever offers valuable perspectives on how seasoned and inexperienced players may work together to achieve both individual and group objectives. Their collaboration shows the possibility of mutual aid and mentoring, which might act as models for player development across the league. The youthful forward's time in college at one of the top women's basketball programs, Stanford, exposed players to elite competition and professional training that shapes her outlook on what women's professional basketball may achieve with the right resources for growth and support. Paul's predicament as a young player having to make choices regarding long-term objectives, international prospects, and career development reflects the worries of many WNBA players who have to strike a balance between their immediate financial needs, career sustainability, and professional development in a league with little earning potential. It is unclear how younger players' worries about job chances, financial stability, and career prospects under the present framework of women's professional basketball may be reflected in Hull's involvement in significant player initiatives.
With the 6th pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Lexie Hull, Stanford University.
The cooperation of these three athletes from various periods of their careers and team connections point to a project that addresses structural problems impacting the whole WNBA player community, going beyond personal interests. Their combined viewpoints and influence offer special chances to promote reforms that may help all players and further the general growth of sports. Successful player advocacy initiatives in professional sports in the past show how powerful athletes can band together to improve league structures, pay scales, and working conditions. The most successful programs usually blend widespread support from players from various clubs and career phases with star power. The current collective bargaining agreement for the WNBA consists of clauses pertaining to player perks, pay, and working conditions. However, many players still voice worries about career viability and pay caps. Even the most successful and recognizable players have limited earning potential due to the league's pay cap system. Many WNBA players have access to alternate revenue streams through international options. Because European and Asian leagues frequently pay more than domestic professional basketball, Players looking for better terms and pay inside the WNBA framework have more clout in this global marketplace. Sports economists point out that the WNBA's recent surge in popularity and financial success presents chances to renegotiate player compensation plans and league economics to better reflect the value produced by top players and the league's heightened commercial viability.
People want to know, is that the team to beat this year? Can they win the WNBA championship?
The timing of the news aligns with ongoing conversations on broadcast contracts and WNBA expansion, discussions, as well as the long-term strategic orientation of the league. These elements provide for player advocacy and feedback, which may have an impact on core elements of women's professional basketball operations and player compensation. Athletes may effectively campaign for better working conditions, pay, and career possibilities, as shown by player empowerment initiatives in other professional sports. The most successful programs usually blend the strength of individual stars with group coordination and clear, attainable objectives that benefit the whole playing base. Modern athletes now have access to platforms and influence through social media that were unavailable to earlier generations. In addition to developing personal brands that give them influence in lobbying and negotiating efforts, players may now interact directly with league officials, fans, and the media.
Ask you, how does Vegas get back to its championship ways?
Death, taxes, and Asia Wilson getting the buck.
There are more and more examples of effective player advocacy in women's professional sports, with athletes employing their platforms to discuss topics like respect, media coverage, working conditions, and pay equality. In the WNBA context, these precedents offer examples of successful group action. Women's basketball CU Rent Growth Period offers unparalleled chances for player involvement and feedback that might influence the sport's evolution for decades. Players who assume leadership positions during this pivotal time might have an impact essential laws and procedures that have an impact on next generations of female basketball players. There are queries on the precise objectives these players could be aiming for and how their combined efforts could help women's professional basketball meet both short-term issues and long-term growth requirements. Their combined impact offers previously unheard of chances for change and activism. The news may have an impact on more general conversations regarding women's sports, athlete remuneration, and the development of professional athletics in addition to the WNBA. Prominent women's basketball players' effective lobbying might lead to tools that help players at all levels of competition and in a variety of sports. Media partners and corporate sponsors have boosted their funding for women's basketball, generating substantial new sources of income and business prospects that would enable better working conditions and player pay. Making sure that more league income results in real advantages for the players who create that success is the difficult part. The enthusiasm that athletes like Clark inspire among their fans shows how profitable women's basketball can be with the right promotion, press attention, and competitive possibilities. This expanding fan base gives players more clout to advocate for better league rules and player welfare. Programs for community outreach and education represent extra places where player lobbying might result in improvements that go beyond working and receiving immediate pay issues with the illness. Gamers frequently look for chances to use their platforms for community growth and wider societal effect. Developing career pathways and pay structures that enable elite athletes to establish long-term incomes while seeking competitive greatness is essential to the long-term viability of women's professional basketball. Through leadership and group advocacy, current players have the chance to affect these fundamental components.
Team goals are one thing, and then individual goals. What does this season look like year two?
Global viewpoints and opportunities offer more background information for comprehension. What professional women's basketball could do given the right encouragement and growth. In the off-season, a large number of WNBA players play abroad, exposing them to various models for league administration, player remuneration, and competitive structure. Another area where group campaigning might result in advancements that benefit all players is the function of career assistance and player development programs. Concerns that impact athletes during and after their careers might be addressed by improved training facilities, medical assistance, and job transition tools. Significant marketing assistance and media attention impact the league's overall performance, as well as the acknowledgement of individual players. The goal of player advocacy might be to make sure that better circumstances and possibilities for all participants, not just the most well-known stars, come from more media attention and financial success. The announcement's timing during the WNBA's expansion period offers special chances to shape league policy and direction. Players who assume leadership positions during this pivotal time may contribute to the creation of systems and precedents that will aid women's basketball players in the future. The development and implementation of player advocacy programs under the current league structures are influenced by legal and contractual issues. Effective collective action usually necessitates close cooperation with legal specialists who are knowledgeable about contract law and professional sports laws, as well as player association representatives. The capacity to produce creating clear, attainable goals that address actual issues is essential to bringing about long-lasting beneficial change through player advocacy issues while operating inside the current legal and contractual frameworks. The most successful projects usually mix short-term enhancements with long-term tactical adjustments that produce long-term advantages. Support and involvement from fans are frequently essential to the success of player advocacy initiatives. The growing popularity of women's basketball creates chances for players to build public support for initiatives that enhance league conditions and player opportunities, while improving the sport's overall development. The announcement might be a game changer for women's professional basketball. The future of the sport may be altered when prominent athletes utilize their combined influence and platform to push for reforms. Their cooperation shows the possibility of cooperation to solve systemic problems and further personal and communal objectives. One must question what particular reforms that these athletes are pushing for and the potential effect of their endeavor on the larger field of women's professional sports. Their combined timing and power provide unparalleled chances to further the commercial and competitive growth of women's basketball, while bringing about good improvements that might help present and future generations of women's basketball players. Go ahead and like this video if UEI shares our excitement about this potentially game-changing men's product. Post your opinions in the comments section. What modifications do you believe that these athletes ought to promote women's basketball? How crucial is player activity taken collectively to improve circumstances in the WNBA? What changes do you think would have the biggest positive impact on women's professional basketball? To ensure you don't miss our coverage of this emerging story that has the potential to completely alter the landscape of women's sports, click the bell and hit subscribe. Thank you for viewing.